What's up, Internet? You're tuning in episode 48 of the Steam Deck podcast, Flip Screen Games weekly podcast, all about Valve's portable PC powerhouse, the Steam Deck. I'm your host, Pete Messi, joined again by my very good friend and co-host, Mr. Stephen Radford.
Hello, hello.
Hello, Steve. How are we doing this week?
Yeah, not bad. I noticed you didn't say as always. I guess that's because Max changed the intro for last week's, and I
That's
didn't
probably what
change the
happened.
document back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then I just read it,
yeah,
I
yeah,
joined, as always, for the first time in weeks by my very good
yeah.
friend and
Well,
co-host.
I've been here, you've not been here, so it's really you that's the as always for the first time in
But
weeks.
wasn't it like 2 weeks ago? It was me and Max without you?
No, you've been gone for 2 weeks. Then a week before that, I was gone on holiday.
Right.
So
So either way,
yeah,
you and I, we've been like ships in the night
yeah.
on
It's
this
been a
show,
while. It's been a
you
while
know?
since the duo has been Steam decking.
But we're back, and
Yeah.
we've got some interesting news to kick things off this week. Because if you have been hanging out on the Steam Deck subreddit at all, you may have seen the news that it looks like GameStop is going to be the first brick and mortar store in the United States, at the very least, to be selling Steam Decks in stores. Although they won't be brand new, they'll be refurbished.
This is so weird that we've not got distribution in stores, and yet I would imagine so many people are trying to trade these things in. So GameStop are doing their quote unquote refurbished because I've seen some dubious refurbs from GameStop on YouTube videos in the past. I don't know if you've ever seen any of those where people get them and they take them apart and it's still like dusty inside and they've not done any
Oh
kind of
no,
refurbishment work on the thing.
that's rough.
Uh, so
Yeah.
uh, that, I think it's cool though. It's nice to see, and hopefully, it's like the first step to getting Steam Decks more widely available. But I don't know because Steam Decks aren't available on Valve's website at the moment in pretty much any region because the sale has
They
just
all sold out.
completely
Yeah.
wiped their stock out.
Which, I mean, makes sense, right? Like, it was the first, like, proper sale that we'd ever gotten, um, and it was a pretty deep discount. I know a bunch of people, actually, who picked up a Steam Deck,
Yeah, we
while,
had Chewy from Nintendo Noise. He picked one up.
and
Um,
I wanted to
Ken
shout
picked
out,
one up as well, right?
yeah, Ken, who's been, a guest the last couple weeks, he just picked one up as well. So we've got two new friends in our little cohort here who will be able to jump on and talk about Steam Deck with us. So if you don't know those guys from Nintendo Noise, they're friends and co-hosts of ours over there and on some of our other shows. So, yeah, we'll have plenty of new folks to come in and talk Steam Deck with us, which will be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm really curious. Whenever anyone gets a new Steam Deck, I'm curious as to whether they are going to go deep down the emulation rabbit hole, and I can imagine both Ken and Chewy will because they're big Nintendo fans. That
Yeah.
that was probably their first port of call is let's crack
So
open Dolphin and start playing some retro Animal Crossing.
yeah, Ken had already been thinking about buying one, and then when it was on sale, he, like, messaged me and was like, "All right, man, so, like, what's up? Should I get one? Give me the hard sell." And I was talking to him about it, and he's like, "All right, I really wanted to use it for emulation, but, like, I'm a little intimidated by some of the tinkering stuff." I was like, "Oh, buddy, we got you covered. We'll walk you through all of it." And he's like, "All right, let's do it. I'm pulling the trigger. I'm in." So,
Hmm. Would you buy one of these refurb Steam Decks? The pricing for me, I think, seems a little off. It's
yeah,
it's
so
it's worse pricing than Valve was doing on their sale.
I've got the, I've got the actual, like, flyer, I guess, here pulled up for folks on YouTube, and, I'll zoom in on it a little bit so we can see here, but basically, they break down the prices, and it's for the 64 gig model, it's $13.99. For the 256, it's $429.99, and for the 512, it's $518.99. So just to give you a refresher on what the standard sale is, right? Like, obviously, if you had just picked it up during the Steam summer sale, you'd have gotten a better deal. But if you were to buy one now that the Steam sale's over, it's $399 for the base unit, $529 for the 256, and $649 for the 512 unit. So, you know,
You're
not
saving at least 80 quid or
yeah,
$80 on
not
it.
not the worst discount, but I don't know. It's
And I
interesting.
presume this doesn't include sales tax, so you're gonna have to pay that on top
Yeah,
after.
yeah, you'd have to pay sales tax on
Do
top
you
of
have to
that as
pay
well.
sales tax when you buy one from Steam?
Yes.
Okay,
You
so
have to
it's
pay
no
sales
different.
tax on anything that's like a non-essential item, more or less.
Yeah,
Um,
like but in the UK we include the price in the price. So the price that we see on and
gotcha.
throughout Europe is the price that we see is what you're actually gonna pay,
That's
whereas here, you're
that's
not
why we
gonna
do the
pay
99 thing.
319.
It's
We do
very
the
much
99 thing as well, it's weird.
oh, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. It is very much like a psychosomatic thing. Um,
We used to that we Asda used to be owned by Walmart, and they would always do the 97 thing, and I think they do that in America as well, like 97 instead of 99. I don't
I
know
don't I
why,
don't
it's really weird.
I don't think they do it anymore, but I do
I think they
remember
used
that
to.
being I
Yeah.
remember they had a commercial when I was a kid that, like remember they had that smiley face mascot back in the day? And he was,
Mhm.
like, rolling around mascot with this, like, pseudo, like, country western song, and it was like, "Bryce is on the roll down, ooh, another rolls down." Like, I don't know why
Yeah,
that's
we always had the roll
like,
back, it
oh
was called
oh,
here, it was
yeah,
so
roll
weird.
back, that's it. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
or whatever, but I remember that, like, that commercial is, like, seared in my brain for some reason. I don't think I'd ever even been to a Walmart when I saw it, but yeah, I think for me, it's an interesting question because I think when you're talking about refurbished consoles, like you said, there are plenty of those nightmare stories. So like your mileage may vary on like what the quality of the unit you're buying is, and I think for a lot of folks, you'll buy it and it'll work fine and it'll never have a problem and you won't think twice about it. But if you are one of those folks that's unlucky enough to get one that does have a defect, I don't know that $80 is worth it because yeah, you saved $80, but you'll probably spend more than that to get it fixed.
You've only got 30 days to return it if any issues arise, which for me seems so dodgy. I think in the UK, you have to sell it with a minimum of, like, a year warranty when you buy anything. Because 'cause
I feel
I've
like it
seen
might even
Steam
be
Decks in
longer.
CEX.
I
Yeah.
'cause there was somebody and I was trying to find the message because somebody in our Discord was asking about buying a secondhand unit, and then, another person had responded, and I feel like it was
You get
maybe up
1
to
or
2
2-year
years.
warranty from
I think it
Valve,
might even
yeah.
be up to 2
Yeah.
years in the EU that you have to, include when you sell something like that, but I don't quite remember the exact specifics. So, whomever it was that wrote in asking about it or with the answer, if you wanna hit us up. I was trying to find it for today's show, and I just could not pull it
I
together.
think it's 2 years in the EU. Unfortunately, the UK is not in the EU anymore, so I don't think we have to adhere to that rule. But,
Yeah,
the
30 days is, like, only enough
and the
if it
uh,
already has a problem when
yeah.
you bought it,
And you
right?
notice, like, the fans' bearings are making a horrible noise, or there's a giant scratch on the screen or something. But I think the problem I've got with it is that now that the Steam Deck's been out over a year, a lot of these refurb ones that they're gonna sell could very well be out of warranty with Valve, and so if you do have a problem, you can't just RMA it like you could with, a brand new one. You're gonna have to head back to GameStop and hope that they are willing to exchange it or sort the problem out, and I don't know
Spoiler
that
alert, they
it's
won't be.
yeah, I don't think they're going to. It's gonna be an absolute chore. So, I think you're right. I think $80 is not a big enough discount for me to buy on this. But having said that, you do have the iFixit program where if you do have a problem with any of the components, you could fix it yourself. Valve does have like an option where you can pay for repairs now. And my Steam Deck's over a year old now. I got it pretty close to launch, and it's solid. It's still going fine. Had no issues. I actually have had issues with it. I've had to RMA the thing. I had an issue with my trackpad, but
Yeah.
um, since then I've had no issues with it, and it's been absolutely fine.
I feel like that's the thing that would maybe make me consider it if I was in a different point in my life. Like, if I was younger and, like, $80 was an amount of money that was hard to come by, like, I could see it. I could see maybe making that call
Well,
and,
you
you know,
could
like,
spend that on the docking station, or you could spend that on a game, or you could spend it on like
during
an
this
SD
if you
card or something.
it was during a sale, you could use it on, like, 30 games, right, on
Yeah,
Steam. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I could see it if I was a younger person who frequents GameStop, right, and is constantly trading things in or whatever, like, yeah,
Well,
maybe,
yeah, that's the
right?
other
But
thing. Like, if you've got credit, right? Like, I think you didn't you have GameStop credit, or was it Target credit, or some
it was
credit
GameStop.
somewhere?
I had rewards points from a bank that I use, and they would give you like you could exchange it for like cash back, or you could get gift cards, and the gift cards were like to the like it was an insanely good return. So I was spending points to get $100 GameStop gift cards at the beginning of the year when like right after I lost my job and everything, and I was like, oh, like I can't really afford video games right now. It's like, oh, thanks for these rewards points. I still got a couple. I think I saw like $107 or something like that, and, like
Yeah, well, there you go. Put it towards a 64 gig refurb. And that's a perfect excuse then for you to be like, okay, I'm gonna do the extreme rate shell with 91 screws. I'm gonna go ahead and try that. And I'm also gonna put a
but
2
then it's on my
terabyte drive
garbage
in
Steam
there.
Deck, right? Like, I'd go through all the trouble, and my cool one is the worst model. I'm like,
No, but it
"Ah, that's."
won't be. No, because like, the only difference is the storage on it, and you could
I could
replace that.
replace it while it's
And
open,
you
you're
can while
right.
it's open, and then, see if you can get hold of the Ghillie Kit sticks and go basically do the ultimate Steam Deck that we did last week, which if you didn't watch the episode, Pete, cost $1,800. So you could really go to town with it if you wanted to.
We could build the ultimate Steam Deck, Steve.
Yeah,
I feel
in
like you
atomic
gotta
purple.
I feel like you gotta come to the States, though. Like, we gotta do it together. It's like, we gotta
No,
make this an
no, you
event.
just want me there because 'cause you're terrified of taking this thing apart. That's really
No,
what
no,
it
no, no,
comes
no, no,
down
no,
to.
no.
No,
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 no.
yeah, sure,
I don't wanna
okay.
pawn off all the work on you, not at all. It's just for the pomp and circumstance of it
So
all.
I'm gonna video it, and you go ahead and do that. So I'll be director of photography
I'll
on
be yeah,
this.
I'll be the DP and the foreman, like, I'm like, "Yeah, the lighting in here, I gotta monitor it. Why don't you just take the screwdriver and you get to work, and
Yeah,
I'll."
and we're gonna do it live. So I need to man the chat on Twitch. So yeah, we'll
Yeah,
definitely make sure.
I'll just hang
Yeah.
back. I'll look over your shoulder and make sure you're doing a good job,
Hmm.
though. Don't worry about it.
Oh, that's fine then. Yeah, as long as you're keeping track, I'm okay with that then. I'll get the little. You need to make sure you have certain things though. You want to have like one of those magnetized mats so all your screws will stay like attached to it,
Yes.
and like get yourself grounded and yeah.
Look, I got all
Don't
I
just
got all the
open
stuff
these
from the
up.
Ghillie kit. I got all these little screwdrivers. We're ready to
You
go. Come
don't
on.
even need those though, because they just put Phillips screws on the Steam Deck. They're just like, "Oh, you can
Yeah.
open it if you want.
This
Don't have
one
these dodgy ones."
this one is the Phillips, so we're good. I got a tiny
Yeah.
little screwdriver. I'm ready. I'm ready. I got the magnetic tweezers and everything. We're ready to rock, bud.
Okay. Okay. Maybe we get like some decent screwdrivers though, like the iFixit screwdriver kit, so that you are not like breaking your hand by like you really want like a Torx screwdriver so you can't over tighten it as well, because
Yeah,
that
you
would
don't
be a
wanna
real
strip those
issue.
screws.
Yeah, you don't want to strip the screws, you don't want to crack your casing, you don't want to ruin anything in there. Like that's a task that even I am scared of doing is replacing the shell, but I really want to.
So here's the
I
thing, we
really,
gotta
really
get
want
you a
to.
used one. No pressure, right?
Or a broken one. Like I wonder if I could get a broken one with like a cracked screen or something and just repair it, you know?
I bet you anything somebody is selling those on eBay right now. I'm gonna look it up right
Yeah,
now.
because you could replace the screen on it, and there's that Deck HD screen coming out that's supposedly nice, the 1200p screen with
Yeah.
the better color gamut. So you could potentially replace it with that screen, and that screen allegedly is going to cost $99. I don't know how, but supposedly it is.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. A lot of these people are just selling ones that work, which, I guess that's
How much
another
are they? Are
option.
they like similar pricing to
Um,
GameStop?
so let's see, I'm seeing 439, 390, 360, 440. This one is like here's one that somebody already upgraded. It has like 2 terabytes inside it. It's got a upgraded case to reduce heat, 291. So,
It's pretty crazy right now because they're unavailable on Steam's website that they're selling over retail on eBay in the UK.
I mean, yeah, some of these definitely are marked at over retail. But some of them are fairly priced. It's interesting because some of them are like here's one that has like the kill switch case, but it's like it's under what it should cost. It's very strange.
Yeah, it's
So
very
I
weird.
mean, I guess you could always find a good deal on eBay too, but I'm surprised I'm not finding one that's broken. I
They're
feel like you
probably
could
because 'cause they're easy to repair and they're pretty fucking solid.
maybe.
I've dropped my Steam Deck and it's, like, solid, so
Yeah. I was while I was on the subreddit today, like fishing around for stories, I saw multiple posts of people who had broken their Steam decks though, and it was like heartbreaking. This person was like, "Oh, a shelf fell, and this was the only casualty," and it's just big giant black splinter on the screen. Like it's like it was only the maybe 25% left quadrant of the screen you could still see anything, and the rest it's just like a fucking mosaic. It's like, oh
at
god.
least that sounds like it's just the panel, though, like, you could get the
Yeah,
new
not
panel for, like, 65
it's a
quid in
pretty
the
easy
UK.
fix. Yeah, it's not too
Yeah.
bad, but, like, Still, ugh, which is
Oh,
like a heartbreaker, like of all the things that could break, right? Like it, God forbid, right? You had a situation where like you have all your consoles on the shelf and they all fall. I feel like the Steam Deck's the one I would want to break the least because it feels like it's the most, like your Switch breaks, go buy another Switch, right? Or you send it to Nintendo, right, and get it repaired for like $70 or whatever. But like
yeah.
at
I don't know.
Valve,
See, yeah, I
I
don't
don't
know
know what
if
it
I would.
costs once you're out of the warranty. Like I don't, and like will they even do it? I don't know.
Yeah, they will do it. I'd love to know if anyone knows how much the repairs cost.
Because
That
it's
would be
not
good
like
to
they
know.
don't say, right? Because it's like the repair has to be based on what you broke. So,
Yeah, it does have to be based on what you broke. So I guess you have to send it in, and they'll have to assess it and find out what you broke
and then
and how
probably
much
send
it's
you an
going to cost to
estimate,
repair.
right? Or something, or
Yeah,
I don't know. But, or maybe they just send
yeah.
it back and they're like, this is what you owe us now. And you're like, okay.
I was having a look at the iFixit thing. I think honestly, if most people could probably repair this thing if they're careful. And or everyone has a friend who's good at this kind of thing. I feel.
Yeah, I feel like if you are a gamer, like you're probably only a few, like even if you don't know somebody, you're probably only a couple degrees away from somebody who
Yeah,
could
it's
do
like,
it.
oh, my buddy's broken his Steam Deck. Do you think you could fix it for him if he
Yeah.
slips you like 20 quid? And they'll be like, yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would do. I know. I kind of want to get a broken one and just kit it out now.
With that in
Just
mind, then maybe that's where buying a refurbished one makes sense.
yeah. I think it probably does. And I still think the 64 gig model is the one to go for if you're gonna upgrade it.
If you
But
were
there's
gonna
no
buy it
point.
used, I would agree, right? Because
Yeah.
you buy it, it's like $320, like, that's very affordable, and then you plan to invest a couple $100 to crack it open and upgrade it.
Yeah, I think that's the way to go. Uh,
If you're willing to do that tinkering, that feels like that could be a good way to, like, get in an affordable level.
I'm surprised as well that we haven't seen Valve offering refurbished ones. Like, I thought we would have with RMAs going back, but I guess they're just repairing those and sending them back rather than doing what a
Yeah,
lot of companies do, which is just give you a new unit and
and
then
then
sell
sell a
the other
refurbished
one.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
I that seems to be the because when you got yours fixed, they actually sent yours back,
Yeah, it came back with the screen protector still on, which I was
and you
really
were
happy
surprised
about.
by that. Like, I remember
Yeah.
you being like, they might, they might just wipe it and send me a new one."
They did wipe it, which I was really annoyed about. I don't know why they had to wipe it, but
Yeah, if they're sending you the same one back, it's like, why did you have to.
yeah, because I had to go through all of the effort of I've got to install EmuDeck again. I've got to go through like setting up Lutris and putting Decky on there and getting everything downloaded on my really crappy internet. So yeah,
So, I think this is interesting because at the first, at the rip, I feel like we were like, "Nah, I probably wouldn't do this," but now we've talked ourselves into, like, the use case.
but only because I want to open the thing up and change it. But I could do that with one from Valve, and then if I break it, I could just be like, "Oh, it arrived DOA.
No, you
Sorry."
can't.
No.
No, 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 I was looking at their return details and, like, literally, as much as they're like, "Yeah, yeah, break it open, do whatever you want," that violates your warranty in a lot of cases.
That's illegal. You can't actually can't they can't enforce that.
Oh, maybe not in your country.
You know those like no, even in the US, you know those stupid little warranty stickers, warranty void if removed.
Yeah.
They're absolute nonsense. They cannot be enforced. There was like a ruling, I'm sure it was in the Supreme Court that made a ruling that those warranty stickers mean jack shit.
Oh.
You cannot say that the warranty is void just because you opened it.
So let me see. I'm trying to see. I had it in front of me when I was pulling this up, and it said a thing about, like, they had, like, a list of exceptions where if you did these certain things, they would not take it back and honor the 90 days, and I thought one of them was, you know what it might have been? It might have been opening it to install mods. It might be if you modified it.
Yes, that you can enforce it, but
That's probably what I was, yeah,
but
conflating.
if you just open it and then manage to screw something up, then yeah. But those warranty if void if removed labels are illegal. Apparently, the FTC said that it's covered by the Magnuson Moss Warranty Act
Well, there
from
you go.
1975.
Good to know.
Yeah, I
Um,
always used to see those stickers, and I was like, oh,
Here we
but you
go.
could you could even get around those. Like you could get them off if you like heated them up, and they would like come off.
Yeah, and just, like, lift them and then stick them back on,
Yeah, and then put it
yeah.
back down after.
Yeah, so it says the limited warranty does not apply if the hardware has been modified or repaired by anyone except a Valve designated service center and the cause of the issue for which you seek service is the modification or repair or damage caused by either. So
Okay,
that was the thing.
that's fair. Yeah, yeah. But it sounds like if it's been repaired by them, but then that wasn't the cause of the damage, that it could be covered by warranty. So if it's like a defective part, but I've modified it and I've put a different SSD in there, then it sounds like they would honor
They
it.
would unless they came to the
But if it's
conclusion that
like
it was
completely
your fault.
opposite, like the sticks stopped working and I hadn't touched those, but I had put a new SSD in it, it'd been working for months and there'd been no issue.
Yeah,
And
theoretically, that would be fine, right? Because they say if it's been modified or repaired by anyone besides a Valve service center, and the cause of the issue for which you seek service is the modification or repair or caused by either.
yeah,
So I
so you're all good then. If you do a solid repair or a solid
exactly,
mod,
yeah,
you're
yeah.
absolutely fine.
If they open it up and they see that you scratched something up and you fucked something up while you were
You
replacing it,
pulled up all the traces and the pads and like
yeah.
the whole
At
board's
that
just
point,
completely
you'd be
screwed
shit
up.
out of luck. But otherwise, it sounds like yeah, like they've written it in such a way where you're free to make mods as long as those mods aren't the cause of the problem you're trying to get them to fix for free.
Totally valid, totally
Totally
fair. Like,
reasonable. Totally
yeah,
reasonable. Yeah.
yeah,
But
100%.
it also says this. Another exclusion is if it's sold as is or in refurbished condition. So if you bought it refurbished, they wouldn't honor the existing warranty.
Oh, that can't be legal either, surely, that you can't transfer a warranty?
I mean, that's what it says.
Wow.
Exclusions number 9 is sold, quote, unquote, "as is or in a, quote, unquote, refurbished condition."
Fuck, so then that's completely changed my mind on this on the refurbished Steam Decks then, because you have 0 warranty from Valve. Even
Yeah,
if
but
it's, like, a month old and I've then traded it into GameStop
yeah.
because 'cause I'm just like, "This wasn't for me, and I'm gonna go buy a PlayStation instead."
I think that's a reasonable expectation, though. I think the only reason that you even think that that might be the option or that would be the case is because the Steam Deck is so new, right? Like
But I get it with other products I bought used, like, I bought
sure.
used phones and used
Yeah.
computers and the warranty transfers over and I've been able to get it repaired. Like I bought a used MacBook a few years ago and the screen broke and I needed to get it repaired, but it was covered under warranty because
Nice.
it was part of it.
There you go. So, yeah, I mean, I guess I'm just my point there is, like, I guess I wouldn't expect that with any console that I bought refurbished. Like, if I bought a used Xbox, I wouldn't assume Microsoft would fix it, right? Like,
No,
that
yeah,
feels
that's fair. Yeah.
consistent to me. I'm not arguing with your point, it's more just like I feel
How
like
do they
that's what you're
prove that though? Like what if because if I bought say a Steam Deck for a family member and I gave it to them.
they'd be able to trace it, right? Because think about it, whenever you buy a Steam Deck, you buy it from Valve, and
Yeah, I
it's
buy it from
attached to
Valve, but if
your
I'm, like, gifting it to someone else, like, you bought your Steam Deck through someone else's
right.
account, but if you have a problem, you're presumably gonna go to Valve and be like, "I've had an issue.
Yeah, but
Can you."
I think that's the 2 ways they monitor that, right? Is they have the history of your transaction and they have the history of you activating your account on the Steam Deck. So,
Hmm.
like, if they have this unit and okay, it's serial number XYZ or whatever,
And it's had 2 accounts in totally 2 different places.
yeah,
Yeah. I don't
they'd be
know.
able to draw a line between because right? Because I think I probably could, if I had a problem, go to them and be like, "Yes, so and so bought it, and then they gave it to me, but it's my account's the only one that's
And it's
ever been
only ever been
attached
activated
to
by me, yeah.
this serial number," right? So,
I've had multiple accounts on my Steam Deck, though. So I do
which is
wonder.
fine, but they will notice that. I saw in a subreddit today there was somebody who was talking about like a customer service issue that they had encountered, and in the thing they were like, "Hey, we noticed that you bought this on a Steam account that isn't your own, and that is often like consistent with fraud. So we just want to make sure that you're aware that like if you're committing fraud with your Steam accounts, like both of your Steam accounts could be blocked." And like they weren't. They were just somebody who didn't live in the US. They were in the US on holiday or whatever, right, for a
And
couple
they
weeks,
bought one, yeah.
and they bought one, so no problem. But But yeah,
Well,
so,
I
like,
have my
they're
I have
aware
my
of your
partner's
history.
account on there, but it was 2 accounts at the same time, so you could, like, swap at the login screen and do all of that
Yeah,
stuff,
that's the
and we
thing.
had,
There's
like, the
nothing
shared
against
library.
that. I think it's just more like if it came to the point where you were trying to make claim on a warranty that wasn't yours, they'd very easily be able to be like, "Well, no."
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah. I think
Because that's the
ultimately,
thing.
if
One of
you
the other exclusions is if you modify the serial number, and that's how they
can
can
people
tell.
do that? Like, how would you even do that? Surely they're gonna know
No
as soon
idea.
as you repair the thing, like, they're gonna bring it in and be like, "Hey, this sticker, it did say 6, and they've turned it upside down, and now it says 9."
Yeah, I have no idea. It says, "Has had its serial number removed, altered, replaced, defaced, or rendered illegible." Any of those things are deal breakers.
It's like burned into the BIOS. Like, it comes out in this fucking software. There's no way you'd be able to do that. I guess some scammer could, if
Yeah.
they wanted to sell you one, change it on the box or on the back of the
Yeah.
not even on the back of the deck, is it? Oh, it is, yeah, it's like laser etched in.
Yeah, isn't it near the logo?
It's like down I think it's down at the bottom right, like burned
Yeah.
in, like with a laser. So there's no way you're getting that thing off either unless you change the back plate. But I guess if you
Which
change the
which
back
you
plate
literally can, right? Like,
yeah.
it's like you could 3D print it with a different number in it, or you could get a one and engrave it, like, it's
Or you can
not
buy the replacement back plates from iFixit
right,
and just
and
swap
then
it
put a
on, yeah.
number in it. Like,
Yeah.
it would be an insane amount of effort, but you literally could do it.
Yeah, why would you do it? And, maybe when this was, like, a real hot commodity and no one could get one, I could
Yeah.
see people wanting to do that and be like, scamming people,
I feel like
unscrupulous
that
people.
language is more there to protect Valve in the case that somebody was insane enough to do something like that, rather than the likelihood that it would actually happen, you know?
Mhm.
Because it's one of those things where if there isn't a rule about it, people will exploit it. And I wouldn't be surprised if there was somebody on YouTube or TikTok or something who was like, "Oh, you can do this and change the serial number and get free, things forever." Like, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, that's the type of shit that, the insane modding community can often, find the
Yeah,
loophole, right? "Oh, there's no rule
yeah.
about this? How can we use this to save money or take advantage of this insane thing?"
Oh, on the whole, though, I think just to put a pin in the GameStop thing, I think if you're gonna buy one and you're not gonna mod it, and $80 is not that much for you, it's not the be all and end all, I would buy one from Valve,
Agreed.
and I wouldn't get one from GameStop.
Yeah, I think unless you are very much committed to the idea of what we talked about, of like you're gonna go to iFixit and buy all the crazy mods, and like that's a project you were already thinking about doing, then I mean, honestly, this seems like probably not a bad idea then to save yourself a couple bucks and reinvest that $80 in.
Yeah, that can go towards, like, a 1 terabyte SSD instead, you know?
Mhm.
Or it
Yeah,
can pay for the shell replacement or whatever else you wanna do to this thing, some Gillikit sticks.
yeah. So interesting option, and I mean, it is cool to see it making it into a store in, my country, right? Because so far it's only been in countries in Asia, right? Where you
Mhm.
can actually go get it in a store. So, it's kinda neat to think that the next time I decide to poke my head in a GameStop that I might see a Steam Deck
You
there.
might
Kinda
see
neat.
one there, yeah, on display, that'd be cool.
Would be cool. So we got some more to talk about ahead on the back half of the show, including some questions from y'all in the question block. But before we do that, let me remind you that this episode of the Steam Deck podcast is brought to you by our Patreon producers for the month of July. They are, of course, Arnold J. Rimmer, Christopher Valenz, Earth Visitor, Gabriel Hasselmeyer, aka Asobi, Snackago, Ty the Dude, and Wakahula. Thank you all so much for your support over on patreon.com/flipscreengames. You all the reals to the real, and we greatly appreciate your support of this and all of our sister shows. If you want to go and check out one of those shows, if you want to go and become a Patreon supporter, get the show early, get your name read on the air, get a bunch of other perks and goodies. If you want to go and write into the show for the question block, just like everyone did on the back half, guess what? Flipscreen.games is our website where you will find links to all that and much, much more. However, you choose to get involved, show your support, or tune into the show, we thank you for joining us here on another episode of the Steam Deck Podcast. We're back. All right.
Hello.
So this next one is a human interest story. Like I said, I'm out there. I'm trolling the Steam Deck subreddits. I'm looking for a good story for us, right? And I find a user, Jorgow MC. who needs help finding a comfortable way to play. So,
What do you think the MC is?
yeah, I don't know.
Minecraft? They're
Minecraft,
like
maybe? Master
maybe
Chief?
they're or maybe they're like,
Main character.
or like an MC, doing a bit of rapping.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But then I feel like you'd wanna have it in the front. You'd have MC Jorango or Jorgal.
Yeah.
That actually sounds like something almost. MC Jorgal? I'm like, "Alright, that could be a guy."
Have you seen those speaking of this, like, real tangent, have you seen those TikTok videos where they use, like, the AI voice thing to just get Eminem to say different things? Like, he's just,
Yes.
like, rapping, "I'm going to the shops," or whatever? I find
Yeah.
those so fun.
Well before, like, the future of AI was, like, terrifying and, like, made me upset, there was this tool that I found that, like, that's all it does, where it has, like, a bunch of rappers, and you can choose them and then, like, put words, and it would try to, like, put it in their voice, but also, like, the cadence of how they rap
That's
and,
really
like,
fun.
it works pretty well, and I remember I was, like, putting, like, children's rhymes into it, and, like, having different
This little
rappers.
pig you went to market, yeah.
Yeah. Sally sells seashells by the seashore, goofy stuff like that. Yeah, yeah, it's fun net for now. We'll see how that goes. But so back to Jorgao here. So they posted a picture of themselves, which I thought was hilarious. And basically the issue they've got, they're playing. If you're not a video listener, I'll describe it to you. Right. So they're laying on their couch. They got their head up against the arm. They're holding the Steam Deck, and it's leading to a profound amount of neck pain. So I wanted to bring it to you and me, Steve, the experts, not only of the Steam Deck, but of the TV gaming, of playing on the couch, laying down, maxing and relaxing, of course. So I think you and I, who better equipped than you and I to help
Yeah, I mean,
Jorg
I
out?
feel like I've sat in this position many times, but I do feel like Alcott, which is one of the comments, and I think this comment really resonated with me, is what you need is a bigger belly. Because I do think that you can rest on your belly. I do that, but I also have done the pillow trick. I'll put a cushion there,
Yep.
and I'll rest the Steam Deck on the cushion or the pillow, and that's so much easier because then it's resting on something. I'm not holding it. I'm not having to like have that weight in my hand.
Yeah.
And I often put my legs up as well. Like I'll put my knees up and I'll put the pillow on the on the legs
Mhm.
and then the Steam Deck on the pillow. And I find that's
Absolutely.
a really comfy position.
That works really well. I think for me, the go-to usually is you gotta get some arch support on your neck, bud, right? Because you're leaning it on the arm. That's no good. You're putting all the weight on the back of your head. You're not giving yourself any support. You got to get yourself a nice pillow
Neck
that's got a
pillow,
good
yeah.
either get yourself like a neck pillow, like you're going for the airline or whatever that works, or you get a good like nice memory foam pillow for your couch downstairs, or if you
Mm,
got one in your bed, maybe you pull that down, throw that behind your head, because that's going to fill in all the gaps. And then rather than putting all that weight on the back of your head or on your
it's
neck,
on there, yeah.
it's on the pillow. Right. You
I,
know?
I, I often do that with the cushions that we got downstairs. They're really nice.
Yep.
But I also kind of feel like maybe sit up and put your back against the arm as well.
That's the other way.
I do think that is a good way because you can still have your legs on the sofa, you can still like chill out.
I think if you really
But
want to lay down, grab the controller, throw it in the dock.
oh yeah, that's a good one, and then put it on like a stand somewhere.
Yeah. Or
Especially
TV
if
if
you've got like a Project Kill switch with a kickstand, you could
Yeah,
you
for
could chuck
sure.
it on there.
That's an easy way to go about it, right? Like, I'll do that sometimes, even with, like, my Switch, right? Like, if I'm like, "Oh, like, I need to, like, switch up my position or whatever," right? Like, I'll pull the Joy-Cons off, throw the kickstand out, and, like, lay down or something like that. Works
Oh,
just
I've
as
had
well.
some. There's some games that I can only be played with a pro controller as well, like Splatoon, and so that's the only way I've ever really played them because those Joy Cons, those sticks are not good. It's not like the Steam Deck sticks.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not quite the same.
No, no, tiny little things.
They do alright, though.
They do all right, but if you want like chunky proper
Yeah,
sticks, I think that's the
yeah.
way. I will say though, I know you mentioned the TV. That is one way to go, but I do think that if I'm lying on the sofa like this, the reason I'm lying on the sofa like this is for one of two reasons. One, the TV's in use by someone else, or two, I'm watching something else on the TV and I'm playing a
Sure.
game that I'm grinding in Diablo or something, and I want that on in the background.
Yeah. Yeah, and if that's the case, then I think you're gonna wanna rely on one of these other situations that we described, right, for sure. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, the way that my TV is angled is I have it perfect so that the spot where I sit is if I'm sitting up, I'm, like, centered on it, and if I'm laying down, all I have to do is angle my head at the edge of the couch where I normally sit, and I'm still straight on. It's, like, perfect.
Wow, and your wife is she's just relegated to the corner. She can see, like, the edge of the TV. She can barely see
No.
anything.
No, see, it's perfect because, what I'll do is if she's sitting next to me on the couch, right, if it's on the main couch that we sit on, sometimes she's sitting, like, on the opposite arm, right, with her legs out on me. Usually when she's doing that, it's because she's playing her Steam Deck or she's playing the Switch, so she's not looking at the TV. So if it's a little angled towards me, no big deal. If we are watching something together, just angle it back the other way. If not, the other seat that she'll sit on is on the edge of the love seat, in our couch, right? And like that, we're both dead on. So it's perfect. I only ever have to move
Okay,
it if we're
okay.
trying to go for she's laying the opposite way and we're watching something, which is a very rare combination. So it's like 9
Yeah.
times out of 10, configuration's perfect.
And the only time I ever have to move mine is if we have, like, guest savior, because no one ever really sits on the other sofa when we're watching TV, and so if we have guest savior, like when we were watching Eurovision and we had people over, we had to, like, angle the TV, otherwise no one else would have been able to see the
Yeah.
thing.
And I only deal with that if somebody's sitting in the love seat on the far seat. And then I have to get a little creative, but usually it
Mhm.
works pretty good.
Someone else in the comments, they made a good point, and these were included in our ultimate Steam Deck list from last week, which you haven't watched it, go watch that or go listen to that video because it was a really fun one. That someone said buy those X Real Air glasses that everyone was flogging for a while
Yeah, yeah.
over on YouTube, and you could just have those on your face. You can lie back. You can hook up a controller then to your Steam Deck, and you can just lie there with like a 50-inch screen in front of your face.
So, real quick, I found there's a sequence of comments that really made me laugh. Somebody said, "Use a goddamn pillow. How hard could it be?" And then the next guy goes, and this fun guy Shroom is the one who made the joke, so I want to give credit. Instructions unclear. Pillow stuck in esophagus. And then somebody underneath that said, "Download more neck," which I also thought was pretty good. So
I,
I hope this helped you, Jorgal.
yeah, I don't think it's too difficult. I think the route is the one to go for. Uh, that's how I've been doing it. That when I used to use my iPad all the time, that's how I used to use it as well. These big bulky things that are really difficult to hold in your hands, you need to rest them on something.
You get 2 pop sockets.
Yeah, oh, I can live without a pop socket, especially not with my weird thing
Your
in
little
my
baby
hand.
hands.
Yeah.
All right, so let's jump into the question block. We got a couple good ones to dive into today. This first one comes from Ronnie Hot Dogs, who wrote in and said, "Best companion to Steam Deck, Xbox Series, PS5, high-end gaming PC, etc." Which I mean, the etc is Switch, right? That's the only other thing. So
Or mobile if you just wanna
I
play
guess that's
Candy
true.
Crush.
If you could have just one, which would it be?
So I think this was a really interesting question. I wanted to dig into it, and I think it really depends on what you're using your Steam Deck for and what
Yeah.
kind of player you were to begin with. Because I think there are a lot of people where the Steam Deck, like me and you, was really like an entry either into PC gaming or back into PC gaming, and we didn't necessarily have as big a library as some people like Max, for example, where PC gamer was where he did most of his gaming. And if that's you, you've probably already got a PC, right? You've already got a high-end PC. I do think though that that probably is the best solution for most people is the high-end PC. You can share your library between your Steam Deck and your PC. You've got the cloud save synced between your Steam Deck and your PC.
I'm surprised that more diehard PC gamers don't seem open to the Steam Deck. We
I
we
know,
like we
yeah.
we literally have a question here from Snackigo, one of our Patreon producers who and I don't know if we're gonna actually get into the question today. But he said, "What does the second iteration of the Steam Deck have to do to convince non-handheld gamers to pick one up?" And then he's talking about how, like, there's the 720, 30 FPS kind of being, like, what he imagines the standard benchmark is, and that compromising the experience, right? And that is, like, a real thing with PC gamers, right? You play on
Yeah, but
PC.
what I think that forgets the fact that you can use this as a Steam Link, or you can use this to
Yeah.
sunshine and moonlight. You can do what you want with it, and you can stream to it. You know, like that's the other thing with the PlayStation and the Series X. It's if you want to stream your games using Chiaki or you want to use Greenlight, you can stream them over to this as well. I do
And it
think the
works better
PC
than most other platforms you could stream it to.
Yeah, I do think that the PC is probably the easiest one though. It's like it's built right in. You can just play games from another device. They just show up on your Steam Deck as if you're playing it natively.
Let me ask you this though, Steve, because I think broadly I agree with you. I think if you were asking me among these options, what is the best companion, I would personally say it's PC, right? Like I think if
Mhm.
I was trying to come up with like, all right, like in an ideal scenario, you're somebody who plays PC all the time, and then the Steam Deck is your handheld companion, so that when you are playing in bed, if you are playing in your living room, if you're on the road, you can take your library with you and you can take full advantage of it, right? That seems like a perfect solution. But you made the point that you and I were both not really PC gamers like that prior to the Steam Deck, right? I had a brief window for sure of a couple
Yeah, me
years where
too. Yeah,
I was playing a lot of
back
PC
in the
games,
Oblivion days was when I was playing.
but
You're like talking 2005 to 2008
I
was
feel
when I
like
was really big into PC.
the peak for me was like 2015 to 2018, I want to say. Was
Interesting, really? Like during the
Yeah.
PS4 era?
Yeah, because
Oh,
I would play my single player games on PS4, but I had, like, a crew of friends, from, like, my hometown that we would jump on and play. We'd play Overwatch, we'd play,
you play League though, wouldn't
play
you?
League
So
of
that's probably why.
Legends, right?
Yeah.
We'd play, oh my god, I feel so bad that I can't remember this game's name. PUBG. I was like, "What's the one that
Oh
Fortnite,
yeah, the
ripped it
crap
off?"
version of Fortnite. Yeah.
Yeah, and we played that, back in the day, and, like, so, like, there was an era where, like, I was doing a lot of social gaming, and, that's just easier on PC, so that was something that I was certainly, like, investing more
You
time
think it
in,
is
but
easier to do social gaming on PC? I don't think that's the
I do.
case anymore though.
I think so. I mean, I don't think that it's, like, hard on the other platforms inherently, but I think when you think about PC, a PC's, like, the easiest, in my mind anyway, to, like, have the experience of, "Okay, I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna jump into the Discord server where all my friends are and see who's
Which I can do
online," and
on Xbox and PlayStation.
you're
I can
right.
see my Discord friends list.
I just
But
it's
I think that really has changed the game.
Yeah,
It is a lot easier to make a cross-platform party now than it
yeah,
ever has been,
for
which
sure.
is nice.
I just think in general, it's clumsier on a console to log into
Mm.
Discord and to go it's not that it's bad.
I've gotta get my Switch, I've gotta plug in the weird, like, adapter so I can plug it into the Switch Online app on my
Exactly.
phone. Oh god, that's the
Yeah,
wonkiest
exactly.
experience.
So, like, I think for me in that way, I think of PC as being the easiest platform for just, like, sitting down and hopping on and jumping into whatever your friends are playing, not to mention that games come to PC first, so there are more multiplayer games on
Not
PC
all of them,
generally.
though. Like,
Not
you
all of them.
look at PlayStation, right? That's the other one I would suggest. I think I'm discounting Xbox because all those games are coming to PC day and date anyway. But PlayStation is the other one, I think. I know they've got Project Q coming out, but if you
Well,
already
that's
got
why I was
Steam Deck.
driving. I was gonna ask you, like, what is the one that you would pick for yourself? Because, like, we're not like that with PC. So if we're
Oh, no,
not
I
that
would
there,
love a high-end I think for me, it would be I'd love a high-end PC that I can eke out as much performance as possible, and I can play games at, like, 120 frames per second, and I would use the Steam Deck as, like, a Steam Link plugged into my TV so I could play them on
you
my
say
TV if I
that, but you
wanted
could
to.
do that and you haven't.
I can. I use a Mac. There's no way. No way.
You could build a PC just for gaming though if you wanted to.
I could, yeah, I guess
If
so.
you
I
were
mean,
inclined, you would. You bought 2 consoles instead of doing that.
yeah, you're right, I did. That was pre-Steam Deck, though. I don't know, I think maybe now things have changed, maybe I would give it a go. But I think it's a lot simpler. It depends on the kind of person. I think I would be okay building a PC. I think a lot of people that listen to this show would be okay building a PC.
I feel like for us, it's more the lifestyle thing. I don't see you building a gaming PC and then sitting at a desk and playing
No,
PC
but I
games
wouldn't
on
sit
it.
at the desk. That's my point, is I would stream
Put it in
it
the
to my
living
Steam
room.
Deck that's plugged into my TV, and it would run absolutely fine. Because with Moonlight and Sunshine, you can stream over the network, you can stream 4K over the
Sure.
network, and it's no issue.
I
And
think
I could
that's
hardwire that in with Ethernet because I've got the Ethernet port on the Steam Deck dock, and so there'd be no problem there, and I think that would be absolutely fine. And that's why I think it's the best companion is the high-end PC. That I actually think it's the other way around, that the Steam Deck is the best companion to the
for a
high-end
high-end
PC.
PC, yeah,
And
yeah.
that's why it was originally called the Steam Pal, and, like, it makes sense that this is like a companion device, but I think it's kind of gone above and beyond that now, and a lot of people use this as their primary device. I
But so
think I probably play more games on Steam Deck than anything else.
take the PC out of it though, right?
Then it's PlayStation because Xbox the I can play those games on PC anyway. I bought Hi-Fi Rush on my Steam
You
Deck.
don't have a
I
PC
can
though in this scenario, right? Like in this scenario, you're picking one. Say it's not a PC. You don't think Xbox has a horse in that race
Oh,
because of
if
that?
I don't think I think for a companion device, I think PlayStation because I can play a lot of those Xbox games on PC anyway.
Yeah,
But
they're
then I
going to be on the
can
Steam
also play a
marketplace.
lot of the PlayStation games. They're slowly coming over. I can play
Yeah,
Spider-Man if I want to, and that runs really well. I can play Horizon. Presumably, Forbidden West is going to come at some point.
as long as you're
Ratchet
willing
and
to
Clank
wait,
is on its way.
right? Like
Yeah, if you're
most of
willing
those
to
games
wait, I think
should
it's
come,
fine.
but
Mm.
I guess it's just that like sense of like how much do you care about playing it while it's fresh and like do you need to know when it's going to come or are you just content that maybe one day
I don't really
you'll get to
care, I
play it,
don't
you
think.
know?
I think if I'm picking a console, it's Xbox. It's my preference. I prefer playing on Xbox than playing on PS5. It's where I play all my multi-platform games. I play on Xbox, and the only thing I turn my PlayStation on for is for exclusives. But it does have some really good exclusive games. So it's a really tough one. I think it very much is dependent on the player and dependent on what kind of person you are. Are you willing to put the effort in to build a PC, or are you more likely to just want to turn a PlayStation on and stream that using Chiaki to your handheld if you want to?
Yeah,
Or are you even going to go that far? Because there's also the other side of things that, yeah, I could buy a pre-built PC and then I use Steam Link and it's automatically and it's all set up for me, but I'm not going to go out of my way to follow a YouTube tutorial to download Chiaki, to set up a different flat pack, to find like
right.
my PlayStation Network key and do all of that stuff. So I think it very much depends on the kind of person that you are.
Yeah.
But I think if you're including all of them in there, the two companions I would pick would be a high-end gaming PC or Switch, because I actually think a Switch is a really good device to have, and I think most households probably do well with one, even if it's just for party games, even if it's just for the multiplayer experiences that you can get, like Mario Kart and Mario Party and stuff. I think
Yeah.
they're always really fun to have around.
Yeah, I wish I was more excited by the idea of the PC device because, like, I think that we had that whole episode about Steam machines a couple weeks ago and like what a modern one could look like, and I something like that seems so attractive. The idea of like building a mini PC that I house, in my living room alongside my consoles, and I can play the PC games on that dedicated device on my TV when I want the high end performance, and when I am on the go, I can take advantage of streaming or playing a down, a compromised version, as it were, on Steam Deck. Like, I love that idea, but there is something about just like I think the simplicity of consoles and of having a dedicated device that speaks to me, and it's why I like the Steam Deck, right? It's like I and I guess if I bought and built a PC that I only use that way, like then it would be a dedicated
It
device.
would 100% be like that because you could have it automatically boot up Steam into the new big picture mode, which looks like the Steam Deck interface. It would be no different for you.
Yeah,
And when SteamOS 3.5 eventually comes out, we had a story that we don't know when it's coming out. But when it does eventually come out, I think that's going to be a
I think
possible
that's
route as well.
I think that's what I'm going to seriously consider that as an option. Um, but even so, it's interesting to me because like it does become this like weird, like you're fragmenting your library in all these different places. And like I know for a lot of people, like they just want things on PC, but like I really don't, Like I generally speaking, right? Like the types of games that I like to play, either like indies I like having on PC because they generally run just as well there as anywhere
And they
else.
come there first
They
as
come there
well.
first. They get more content there first. Like it's generally the best. I think the best place to experience indies is on PC. But when you're talking about AAA, nah, nah, it's not. It's definite. And like I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, but I want to play a AAA game generally when it's fresh. I've been looking forward to it. I'm like caught up in the conversation of it, and I want to get out there and play it then. And to me, like having the most stable version of it is a lot preferable to having like the quote unquote, potentially best version. When you look at how many publishers or developers have in the last just year put out absolutely garbage PC ports. And that's not a dig at PC as a platform or the people that play there, but like I feel like, I look at something like Jedi Survivor, like I don't want to wait a year and change or 6 months or whatever until they patch it and it runs okay, right? Or it's finally now you can play it in widescreen and it's this and it's that and it's this. It's like
Yeah, but I mean, I think that needs to land back on the publishers. Like that
you're right,
100%
but
is unacceptable.
But as
When
a
and
consumer, you have to make decisions based on the reality, not like how
yeah,
things should be. And it's like you went and bought The Last of Us Part 1 on Steam and it hasn't been playable for almost the entire time you've bought it. And if you had bought it on PS5, you would have been done with it by now. And you would have had fun and you would have been like, what a great experience that was. Like, I don't understand buying AAA games new on PC because so often you just get burned. And
but I think if you're not the player that wants it brand new, PC is a great place to go because you get stuff like the Steam Summer Sale where you get it for like 10% of the price that it actually was. And it's like, oh, great. I've managed to pick up this game that I was
that is a
excited about and I
huge
wanted to go back and
advantage
play.
of
And you
that
never get them
ecosystem.
that cheap on PlayStation, ever.
Nope. No, you're totally right. And that is a huge advantage of the Steam ecosystem, and, like, I totally understand why people care about that, and I think for a lot of folks, does it matter if you're playing a game new or not? No, it matters that you're
No.
having fun with it, right? But, like,
Mm.
for us, like, we do have that, right? Like, we do the show, and, like, we're always like, "I'm looking forward to this, and I can't wait for this new game," and we're always chasing what's new, and, like, generally speaking, I find the what's new to be a better experience on console than it is on PC when you're talking about the big releases of the year. And like that doesn't hold true across the board. Don't get me wrong, but
I think it depends on the publisher, it depends on who it is. I think Microsoft does a really great job with their PC releases. You look at
yeah,
something like Forza Horizon, it had that big, like, "Oh, you gotta wait 20 minutes in order to play at the beginning because 'cause we're preloading and pre-compiling the shaders." After that, it's a solid experience, and it runs
yeah,
great. You look at what Nixie's puts out, always solid, always runs phenomenal. Look at all the stuff that Insomniac's put out with that team at Nixie's. All of it's been completely solid. Whereas the stuff that PlayStation's put out with Iron Galaxy has really been a mixed bag. You look at what we've got with the Uncharted collection, what we got with The Last of Us, complete mess, complete unacceptable mess. The same with what EA did with Jedi Survivor. That was completely unacceptable.
yep,
But the case across the board.
yep.
Basically, anything that runs on Unreal Engine at the moment is gonna have shader stutter. It's gonna not have the precompiled shaders in there. It's gonna pause and like have micro stutters. It's gonna be annoying.
But you know what?
But
Even
I do think though that you can brute force your way through a lot of those problems.
Sure.
And I also think that if you're buying one of these platforms for the long term, I don't think PlayStation is the one to go for because I don't know what the future of their backwards compatibility looks like. They haven't had a good track record. I don't know if that follows through. They don't have a system like Smart Delivery, whereas I can literally on my Steam Deck download a game I bought in 2006 and it runs and it still plays. And I can't do that with a game that I played on PS3 from that era because it doesn't work at the
I don't
moment.
I don't think it's fair to I don't know that I would share that concern at this point, considering like the PS4 to PS5 was exactly that. Like I think like we
I
know
had to
that
buy a lot of the games again if I wanted the PS5 version. I had to pay for the
yeah, for the upgrade. That's
upgrade to
that's
get all
true.
of that, whereas those
Um
patches are usually free on
That's a
PC.
that's a different argument than what you're saying about the PS3 to PS4 thing, though. That I think is like to draw an analog between those and Xbox, like, it's not quite the same, right? Like, the PS3, that's due to the cell architecture and everything, like,
I think
there's
they could do it. You look
they
at,
could.
you look at, like, I can emulate PS3 games on my Steam Deck. You're telling me I can't emulate PS3 games on my PS5 if they wanted to put the effort in?
Yeah,
That's what it comes down to. They don't
yeah,
wanna put the
absolutely.
effort in.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's like it's also, I think, like, that comes down to, like, why did Xbox do it? It's because they were in 3rd place and they needed a win, right?
Mm.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's
But
awesome.
it's phenomenal now, like FPS boost, auto
I
HDR.
I'm with you in terms of,
I love
like,
all of that stuff.
I don't know, it's so interesting though, because, like, I guess it's a tough equation because, like, we had that conversation on the Flip Screen Games podcast, last week about, or I guess 2 weeks ago now, right? About, Microsoft saying that, like, they lost the console race because last gen was when people started really building their digital libraries, and now that they carry forward, it's like there are so many people that were already entrenched in PlayStation and are gonna stick with it moving forward. Yeah, if you were coming into it now, though, like, as a new person, I think I would probably agree with you where it's like, I mean, like, I'm buying more third-party stuff on Xbox the same way you are,
Mm.
right? Because I
Yeah,
have
'cause
that
I
confidence.
trust that smart delivery is gonna give me the next version is gonna be upgraded for free, and it's gonna carry over with me.
Yeah.
Whereas, the next version on PlayStation 6, am I gonna have to pay another $15 to upgrade to the 4K patch? Or is that gonna be included? Like, that whole, like, dialogue and marketing around the whole thing, it was very strange, very weird. It was like some games get the free upgrade, some games don't. Like Forza Horizon, Horizon Forbidden West, I was able to buy, um the PS4 version, and I got a free upgrade to the PS5, but Ghost of Tsushima, you have to pay the $15 in order to upgrade, and it was mixed messaging, really confusing, whereas on Xbox, it's, "Oh, you buy a version of the game, and you get the version that's the best one because 'cause it's got
Yeah,
smart delivery."
with PlayStation, it's like, and even that, right? Like, I don't necessarily think that that's unfair, and we talked about that with Ghost, like, it was part of it came with DLC and stuff, right? It was like the PS5 version was the director's whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's a different kind of product, but to your point, the marketing around it is like, so what's the deal? Is this one I gotta pay for? Is it not? Is it $10?
Yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck? Like, it's so, like, it's the same thing with their
The PC
subscription.
pricing as well, I don't
Well,
get.
not even that, that's true too, but I was gonna say their subscription service is the same deal where it's like, there's 3
Which
tiers
one?
and they
Like,
all have
yeah, I
dumb
just don't
fucking
get it.
names, and it's like, which one do you need? And it's like, Xbox does a good job of
It's like I'm paying for Game Pass, I get Game Pass. If I get Ultimate, I get the PC version and I get EA Play bundled in. It's really not difficult.
if I buy a game, it runs as good as it can run.
Yeah.
Cool, great.
But the PC pricing for PlayStation as well, it's so strange. It's just like, I can get all these games for cheaper than I can buy them on the PlayStation Network right now. Why? Like, that's another reason to buy the PC, right? It's like, oh, I can even play the PlayStation games for cheaper. I can play the
Yeah, I gotta be honest, I don't put much stock in that. Like, I think that that's kind of like a I don't think that's a viable alternative to buying a PlayStation 5 if you actually wanna experience, like, what is going on, you know? But, like, I think it depends
depends
on
what you
what
wanna
type of
play.
player
Like,
you are.
if you wanna play the Insomniac games and you're still behind, right? Like, you wanna play Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and you wanna play Ratchet& and Clank, I think playing those on PC is probably the best place to play those games now. They run better, you can play them in ultra wide, and they've got all of the bells and whistles you can expect, and they've got higher fidelity textures, they run at a better resolution. That is the best place to play them, but it took a while to get there.
Yeah, but again, it's like it's the best place to play them if you've invested in an extremely expensive
Yeah,
rig that most people don't have, you know?
yeah.
So it's just like, again, I think,
Money
like,
no object if someone's giving it to me
sure.
and it's like, I'm picking the PC.
Yeah, yeah, but I don't know, I wouldn't, right? Like, if it was like, if I had nothing and it was like blank check, you have $1,000 to spend. Do you wanna buy a PC or do you want a PlayStation and an Xbox? I would take the 2 consoles without question.
Mm. Yeah, fair enough.
Um,
Yeah.
but again, that's based on my taste, right? And, like, the
Mhm.
experience that I want and how I wanna play games and when I want to play them, you know? Um, I've never really bought into the idea that, like, PC gaming is a better value or better experience. I think it's a different experience. Better value I could see in terms of, like, sales and the access to the Steam marketplace and everything. But I think that comes with a lot of caveats, right? Because it's like I have had one experience, my entire history of buying modern video games, like as an adult informed consumer, where I bought a game that just straight up did not run well on the hardware that it was sold to me on. And
Which
that
one?
is a Cyberpunk, right?
Yeah.
And that is a literally an annual experience for many, or if not most, PC gamers. They're looking forward to a AAA game. They buy it day and date, and it does not work. Like I, that to me, that trade off is so hard to understand. But again, that's the thing, right? It's like it all comes down to choice and like having the ability to go with what works for you. And there's a reason that I own every platform, right? Is that like I want to have options and I want to be able to tailor the experience of the game to the platform where it plays best, whatever that means, you know? But I
Yeah.
know for a lot of folks, there is that dream of like having one perfect library that comes with you forever. And like there's definitely no better option than PC for that, just because like you want to take that thing you said about buying a game on the Xbox, extrapolate that like times 1,000, right? Where it's like as long as it can run on your PC, you can play it, right? And your Steam library you could be carrying that with you since what? Like people our age, like
2003,
yeah, so
2002,
like
all
middle
that, yeah.
school, right? Like
Yeah. It's
since
like
you were
20 years you've been
yeah,
playing
like
those games, yeah.
you know?
I mean, I've got the
Uh,
original Half-Life on there, it's like
right.
that was the thing that kick-started Steam.
So, I think so much of that comes down to like taste and like how you want to spend your time and all that stuff for sure. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
do think PC gaming as a hobby, it's in more ways than gaming on the whole as a hobby. There's like more angles to it,
it's like a
and that's the other
lifestyle.
thing, right? If you want to mod games and do things like that, that's the only place you can realistically do that is PC. I know some
Yeah,
games
it
like
doesn't really
Skyrim
work.
include mods, but
It's not
it's
really the
nowhere near.
same.
Yeah,
No, it's not the
like
same.
I'm so excited for that Oblivion mod for Skyrim. I don't know if you've been keeping track of that, Sky Oblivion.
Yeah.
Oh god, I can't wait because I've been itching to play Oblivion again. It's my favorite out of the Elder Scrolls games. Being able to play that in the Skyrim engine is going to be
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, I mean, like, and that's the thing I've really loved about the Steam Deck is like I don't usually get involved in mods and stuff like that because by the time the modding community has really gotten to a game and really eked out, like I've moved on from it years ago at that point, right? Like that's just not how I play. But I have been more inclined to do that stuff on Steam Deck because there is that just like ease, right? Of like I can still have that kind of like tailored experience that I want on the device, but
Hmm.
like can get into ROM hacks and fan games and mods and like all this stuff that you're never ever gonna touch on a console, you know?
Yeah, I know, and I know a lot of people want to get into that. We had like questions from people in the Discord asking about like modding and stuff, and people want to add like more content to the games that they're playing forever. Like Stardew Valley has a very big modding scene around it, and that I didn't even realize that people just want to keep adding to these games that they play all the
Yeah.
time, and it's fun.
Yeah, and it's like it's always really fun to see like just the stuff that people do with like sandbox stuff. Like you were talking about Spider-Man before, and like there's this person I started following on TikTok, and they're just like they just show cool mods in Spider-Man, and it's like stuff I don't think I'll ever probably go through the trouble of, but I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's cool that you did that. Like
Yeah.
that's a neat thing. They added new animations. They added this suit. They added this. They added that. It's like that's neat. It's cute. My favorite one ever, though, I think, is a mod where somebody put a Kermit the Frog model in Spider-Man, and
Oh, that's fun.
so funny. So good. You just play the whole game as Kermit the Frog. It's ridiculous, but exceptional.
Does he have the voice as well? They should like redo the voice line so it sounds like
So
Kermit.
I don't know what the deal is because I remember the video I saw, it was him swinging around and he was singing the oh god, the Post Malone song from the original Spider-Verse movie that Miles listens to when he's in his bed. It's like the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
na 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 na. I don't know the name of the song. But it's Kermit was singing it in that voice while he was swinging around. So I'm like, I don't know if that's part of the
Oh, that's fun.
mod or if somebody just added it for the video, but I guess it might be in there.
That's fun. Yeah, I want to get into modding more. I mean, even stuff like the Steam Workshop, those mods are really easy to install. Yeah, and my
Oh
partner
yeah.
plays a lot of like truck sim games, and you can just like download packs like map packs and truck packs and like all sorts of stuff. You can just download them
They do
from
such a good job
the
of just, like,
workshop.
baking that that's, like, the coolest thing about Steam as a platform. It's just how baked in
Yeah, it's like, oh, you
user.
want mods? Oh, you need like a controller profile? Just click here, download that,
We
done.
got all the UGC, just download it, it's right here. It's like, oh, it's so awesome because like, that could be such a it used to be a pain in the ass, like, I remember modding games when I was younger, and it was like, I had to go to a mod forum and download
Oh,
it
and
and
maybe
do some
download a
compatibility
virus. Yeah.
layers, and yeah, and then it's like, "Oh, this mod doesn't work with this other mod that you have installed," and it's like, Steam's just made it so idiot proof for so much of the stuff, right? Like, so many of those like, I think things that people are, like, afraid of kind of, like, taking the plunge, it's
Hmm.
so much easier than it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago by, like, a magnitude of hundreds, you know? I can't like, a game like Skyrim is so easy to just jump in and be like, "Ba, ba, 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 cool, cool. I
Oh,
installed
that's great.
30
Yeah.
mods, let's go," right? Like,
Yeah. Now let's see
awesome.
what we can do in here. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. So, final answer, PC.
I think for most people it's PC, especially people that listen to this podcast. But aside from PC, I think PlayStation probably has it because of the exclusives. At least for
Yeah.
now,
Well,
if
and
the
again, like,
Activision deal goes through, it might be on Xbox.
true. Yeah. And like the remote play experience on PlayStation, right, is like something that that tech has been around for a long time. So it works pretty damn well.
Xboxes does too. Like I streamed a bunch of Hitman through that, and I also streamed a bunch of Horizon through GRQ. They're both pretty much the same.
Yeah.
It's only streaming a video thing and then sending button passes back. So
It's gonna be real interesting because we just gotta get to the point where we can get Game Pass on this son of a gun, and then it's gonna be a whole new ball game.
yeah, you know what? I might see if I can download download Starfield on Game Pass on my Steam Deck when it comes out. Wonder how that'll work. Probably terribly, but I'll give it a go.
You'll have to make a video about it and
Yeah.
let us know. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us here for another episode of the Steam Deck Podcast. Thank you to everybody who wrote in for the question block. Remember, if you want to write in with your thoughts, questions, or opinions on this episode or any other episode of the Steam Deck Podcast, make sure you hit us up, flipscreen.games. That's the website where you'll find links to all the places we are all over the web. You can write into us via email, join our Discord where the conversation keeps on rolling between episodes. You can go comment over on the YouTube video. However you choose to get involved, get in touch, or tune in. We thank you for joining us for another episode of the Steam Deck Podcast. For the crew, I've been Pete. He's been Steve. We'll see you next week.